Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I had an idea throughout the coattail classes of having my students explore new and interactive ways to present material they had learned or created using technology. I chose to incorporate this into a reading unit in our language arts class. Students read the nonfiction selection Exploring the Titanic by Robert Ballard in their literature books and completed double-column notes of events and connections to the text while reading. They were then asked to pay careful attention to the events that contributed to the ship's eventual sinking. After reading, each student selected one of the accused and did additional research on how that person or persons contributed to the disaster. Students were placed in groups of 5, and each student within the group chose a different person to accuse. Individual students then created a persuasive speech and acted as a prosecuting lawyer to formally accuse that person in the deaths of innocent people, as if they were a lawyer in a criminal court of law. The interactive technology was then used as a way to present the various criminals to a jury, the audience, who would then be able to decide their fate. The goals of this unit were to have students experiment with different forms of interactive technology that would also showcase their excellent persuasive writing and help them further develop strong speaking skills. To do this, each group created their own Titanic infographic using actual photos of those people being tried in our virtual court. Each group used interactive technology, such as an interactive infographic or a YouTube video, by attaching their individual persuasive speeches in a way that the audience can make choices and click on things they would like to see in any order they wanted to. Groups shared their infographics online and with classmates to peer evaluate the speeches. The audience bases their decision on the strength of persuasion in the speech, as well as their own knowledge of the events, to draw their own conclusions. Initially, my idea was to have the students create an infographic with hotspots that would take the audience to a YouTube video speech with the click of a mouse. But as I was experimenting with YouTube videos for another class, I realized the hotspot links were there and just as effective for this task. So we used both ThingLink.com and YouTube for our finished products. Was this redefinition? I actually see this falling under redefinition, where technology is used for the creation of new tasks. Never before have I been able to introduce students to a tool for presenting that allowed the audience to interact with it and make choices of their own in order to draw their own conclusions. How did I introduce this project? Well, it was introduced to students using the Goosebumps book series. In these books, the reader can continually make choices as they read, which personalizes their experience. As a matter of fact, they can reread the books over and over again and make different choices, so it becomes something new each time. Most of my students had pretty favorable feedback. I believe the goals of this unit were met. In the Technology Integration Matrix, this unit integrated all of the following components. It's active. Students are creating an infographic or video and eventually interacting with another group's infographic or video to learn and explore it on their own terms. It's collaborative. Students are working together in groups to complete the objectives of this assignment, but also to incorporate their own individual work. It's constructive. Students are utilizing technology to design their own teaching tools and their own way of letting their audience interact and learn with it. It's authentic. It incorporates critical thinking skills and technologically innovative design that is self-directed. And it's goal-directed. Every element of the unit's expectations leads each student to draw a conclusion on the tragedy. My students appreciated the ability to have choices in their technology product and even added some elements of their own, from Minecraft, to show a little background visually on the Titanic saga. Despite me taking on the task of two projects at once, the end products were outstanding, from the infographic to the videos. I learned through this project that students are more engaged in learning when it's fun, a little challenging, and it gives them choices in how they show that learning. In Coattail, this satisfied a desire that I've had for quite some time to tackle digital tools in a more effective way with my students than just using a computer to look things up or type on documents. Through a lot of trial and error this year, I've established a strong foundation and comfort level with the tools I offer my students to use, and I hope that for them, it opens the door to having even more options to show their knowledge and mastery in the future.